Just 9 races left of the F4 Spanish Championship 2024, and what an exciting battle it is set to be for this incredible first of 3 races on the Motorland Aragon circuit. It has been a very interesting qualifying session coming into this one. We have a bit of a shake-up on the starting grid, which is definitely going to give us an exciting first race. Griffin Peebles and Juan Cota will be starting from the front row of the starting grid. Not a championship contender in sight. Keanu Alazadi down in 4th position on the grid, Mattia Kolnagi 3rd, and Maciej Gladic in 6th on the grid, alongside Red Bull youngster Enzo Tarmanichko. Hi everybody, I'm Jake Sanson. Great to be with you once again as we get ourselves ready for the first of our 3 races this weekend on the beautiful Valencia circuit, the Ricardo Tormo circuit. After the events and the shenanigans at Motorland Aragon, now we get to see what the action will be here for the next 3 races of the championship. It really is going to be an exciting battle out on the course. At the end of the race, we'll get to hear from Alex Garcia, our pit lane reporter. But here is the grid in full. Griffin Peebles and Juan Cota on the front row of the starting grid. Mattia Kolnagi and Keanu Alazadi on the second row from Enzo Tarmanichko and Maciej Gladic. 7th place for Thomas Strauben, back on pace again with Gabriel Gomez right up in 8th place for TC Racing. Then it is Lucas Flusha alongside René Lammers, Jan Piotrowski and Peter Buzinelos in position. Then we have Ernesto Rivera alongside Andres Cardenas, the Peruvian 14th, and then we have Francisco Macedo along with Tim Gerhardt. Matteo Quintarelli of Santalon alongside the Hungarian Adam Hideg for the Cram team. Then it's Newborn.
Greetings everyone, we're right now in the circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia, and we're having some slight technical problems from our commentary booth. So we're waiting until we have Jake back with us, which hopefully will be very, very soon. But either way, we're enjoying right now the formation lap for all the drivers who are just going to go into the grid. So the teams are coming back from this dummy grid, and I think it's looking pretty good. We're going to have a nice race. We have an interesting grid with some new characters around the top area. We have Griffin Peebles, who took pole position, was very, very quick along free practice and qualifying. Was pretty confident he can transform this pole position first of the regular season into a win. And we have also Alex Ninovic from British Formula 4, who joins Spanish Formula 4 this season, this weekend. And he's been very, very quick as well during the free practice. So I think he might be he might have something to say as well for this race, which is just about to start, and as we see all the drivers getting right now into their grid positions.
Gracias, Alex. Yes, very interesting points that you make there about the start of this run. There should be some really exciting battles for all of the contenders out there on the course. Should be a really exciting battle as the drivers are now getting themselves into position once more. Could be a fascinating battle with all of the contenders in position. We have Griffin Peebles and Juan Cota on the front row of the starting grid. Mattia Kolnagi and Keanu Alazadi, then Enzo Tarmanichko and Maciej Gladic. Time for us to get underway. 30 minutes plus 1 lap for the start of racing here. The F4 Spanish Championship will see the Australian talent, Griffin Peebles, go from the front end of the grid. It's going to be an interesting one. The rookie driver, Mattia Kolnagi, 3rd on the grid with Griffin Peebles and Juan Cota. The lights are coming on. When we go out, we will be racing. Let's go. Oh, problems for Mattia Kolnagi off the start. Kolnagi has not got away. Absolute disaster for Mattia Kolnagi, who doesn't move off the grid as the drivers work their way to turn 1. Now he's got moving, but the rest of the field's one by 3 wide into the first corner, and it's a cracking start from the Druvax driver, Juan Cota, who gets into the first corner in fantastic fashion. Looks as though he's managed to get himself into the lead, and he's got an absolute squabble of Alizari and Peebles swabbing around all over him. But Juan Cota, the F4 Spanish Academy driver, Cota in front of Griffin Peebles. Enzo Tavanichkil working his way to third position. Safety car is on the course. Apologies for any issues in transition. If you are having some sound difficulties, I do apologize, but fortunately we are under safety car condition that gives us a chance to get ourselves back into the mix. So problems then for Matteo Quintarelli and Lenny Reed. They are the ones who are in problems, but also for Keanu Alizari and Maciej Gladish, championship contenders, down and out of it on the first lap. It couldn't be more dramatic if you asked it to be. So the two championship contenders, Keanu Alizari and Maciej Gladish, down and out of it on the first race of the weekend. Talk about drama as Juan Cota leads Griffin Peebles from Enzo Tavanichkil, Thomas Strauben, Jan Pestrovsky, Lucas Flusha and Ernesto Rivera. Unbelievable scenes here as the two championship contenders are in position out of the race. Wow, it couldn't really be any more dramatic if you'd asked it to be. As with two of the big names out of the race, we're going to need to see a replay of what happened between Keanu Alizari and Maciej Gladish. It's obviously a disastrous start to the race weekend for them as far as they're concerned. Championship contention, very big as far Let's see what happened. I can see obviously a poor start. Ben
And we're back live right now as the cars get into the last corner of this Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia, as we had some slight technical issues that right now are preventing Jake from joining us as he would normally do. So I hope that Jake can have a good restart, as these guys are having in just a second. And hopefully we can hear you again soon. As we see the restart with 23 minutes left on the clock, with Juan Cota taking first place right now, or keeping first place rather, ahead of Griffin Peebles, the pole sitter, who's following him close behind, with Enzo Tavarniskul in this third place, the Red Bull driver, who is following the top two place drivers very, very closely, and trying his best to find any gap to complete an overtake. We know that the Valencia circuit is particularly hard for overtaking possibilities, and when drivers get a little bit too brave, what can happen is what we saw at the start of the race. And this is relatively normal, as we know that drivers are always eager chaps looking for any possibility to get ahead of the rivals, and of course they know that the best opportunities are often in these first 2-3 minutes. But right now we're seeing this fight for first place with Juan Cota, the local driver, Spanish driver, back in Spanish soil after the summer break, leading the race with roughly half a second advantage over Peebles, and Tavarniskul in this third place, forming this top group where Thomas Strauben is closing in to the top three drivers. And I think we have Jake back with us. Jake, I hope that our troubles are finally gone as the race has restarted.
Me too. Juan Cota out in front of Griffin Peebles and Enzo Tavarniskul. Big disaster for the championship contenders, with Chiaro Alazzari and Maciej Gladish out of the race. Enzo Tavarniskul trying to put pressure on the original pole sitter, Griffin Peebles. How perfect is this though for young Juan Cota, who finds himself out of the sharp end of the field. Thomas Strauben, P4 in front of Lucas Flusher and Andres Cardenas. Then Jan Piotrowski, Ernesto Rivera, René Lammers, Tim Gerhardt and Gabriel Gomez. James Zagotzi, P12 in front of Nathan Tye, Francisco Macedo and Oscar Wirtz. You can see for yourself Peebles, Tavarniskul and Strauben having a nice little battle for second position. But this really does blow the championship battle wide open, with Alazzari and Gladish out of the race at this point. It's very dramatic as part of the championship battle. 21 minutes left in the session with the additional bonus lap. But it is very controversial as far as the championship points are concerned. We certainly didn't need any more drama added into this year's championship. We had some fantastic races, 2 wins out of 3 for Maciej Gladish, but now he and Chiaro Alazzari out of the race in the first lap. A very dramatic incident. Obviously we'll get to see it again in a short while, most likely in the highlights of the race itself. But certainly as far as the championship was concerned, it couldn't be more dramatic. Chiaro Alazzari, championship leader with 164 points. Maciej Gladish third on 128, 2 behind Matej Kolnagi. The only comfort they've got is that Matej Kolnagi is also in trouble after missing the start. But he is down in 21st position. It looks like none of the major championship contenders are going to score points. This is advantage to Lucas Flusher and Ernesto Rivera. They are both on 94 points. James Zagotzi is next in the championship fight. He's on 83. And Thomas Strauben, who had a great start to the season, is in 80. So it looks like the championship contenders are all not going to score points on this one. So it will definitely make things pretty dramatic out there for the contenders. So now it's all going to be about the competitors who are able to keep it going. There is Griffin Peebles, having started the race originally in pole position. He is now down in second position. I'm not quite sure. That's the rookie table that we're looking at there to the left-hand side. Tavarniskul is leading in rookie ahead of Strauben, Flusher, Rivera and Piotrowski. Now we look back to the overall picture, and Juan Cota, who is obviously here with support from the Spanish Federation as a scholarship placement with the Drivex team, doing a fantastic job leading the way here in front of Griffin Peebles and Enzo Tavarniskul. Really exciting work from them at the moment. Strauben P4 from Flusher, and the 3 Griffin core drivers, Cardenas, Rivera and Piotrowski. Of course, in F4, you're not going to get any You're not going to get any team orders from the teams. They're not going to ask anybody to move over and let somebody else have another look at it as far as the championship points are concerned. So a very critical situation for all of the contenders then, as they're all trying their best to make the best of it. So let's see how it all continues. A really exciting situation for all of them, but Juan Cota out in first position, looking good from Griffin Peebles. There is Enzo Tarmanichkul, the Red Bull Junior, the young superstar from Thailand, running well in third position ahead of Thomas Strauben and Lucas Flusha. This is a great chance for Flusha. He knows that obviously having lost a few points in the championship over the last couple of weekends, his big 3-point scoring rivals in the championship are now all unlikely to score. Look at the lack of stability that the cars have there as they're all pushing this track limit. As we watch the 19, Mathis Reiber going wheel to wheel there with Oscar Wirtz and Peter Buzinelos. Filippo Fiorentino having a difficult race of it down in 19th at the moment in front of Mattia Kolnagi, all the way down in 20th after his difficult start. Two Santalog boys there in the mix as well, Maxi Restrepo and Yavan David. So a really interesting situation for all of the competitors. Jack Monaghan's watching along, of course, as well. He's noted that Enzo Tarmanichkul's second successor to the Junior World Karting Championship is going to be crowned this weekend, which indeed it is. A lot of the drivers on this grid came out of that particular championship, of course, either 1 or 2 years ago. Really fascinating to see what the guys are putting on in terms of a show here, though, because we've got our race leader, Juan Cota, looking strong up at the front end of the field. He's been able to gap Griffin Peebles to a fairly decent result here. It's definitely looking pretty tricky at the moment. Everybody is getting it ready from the start. A very impressive situation for all of the contenders, in a great situation for all of the competitors. But certainly out in front, Juan Cota is taking full advantage of his current situation, out in the lead, and certainly looking good with it. Now, my secondary monitor is up and working again, so I can actually give you a bit of a heads up as to what has been happening out on the course on that first racing lap. Of course, we had Mattia Kolnagi having his problem on the start. That cost him a little bit of hard work. And then, of course, a very ambitious run on the first lap as Chiano Alazari fought his way in position at the start, going wheel to wheel with Griffin Peebles. Obviously wanted the lead, was not able to take it on the first lap, ended up dropping down into third position. Had to think about it on the inside line of Griffin Peebles in the initial first lap, but there were more dramas as the field worked its way through on the opening tour. Ending up Chiano Alazari going wheel to wheel with Enzo Tarmanichkul on that very first lap. And there were problems, of course, as Tarmanichkul got high on the curb, managed to finish off the move, get into third position, then lost the car. And Maciej Gladish could not take avoiding action. So two big moments there. Obviously, there is an incident that's being investigated in turn 1 that's being investigated after the race. That is the incident between 35 and 22. So that is the incident between. Got to double check who that's going to be. That's going to be Adam Hideg and Peter Buzinelos, who now find themselves down the field. That's Enzo Tarmanichkul leading in rookie, third overall at the moment. So definitely a very dramatic start to proceedings. But it was always going to be a bit of a dramatic one with the safety car coming out at that point. So Chiano Alazari just ended up running wide after Enzo Tarmanichkul's move on the initial lap. Lost the back end of the car, very easily done, as he caught the curb on the way off that particular corner. The car tank slapped. Maciej Gladish did his very best to take avoiding action, but couldn't do anything about it. So such a shame for those two to be out of position. Certainly settling down into a bit of a rhythm now. Oh, that's a problem for the 35. So that is the collision we were talking about a short while ago. That's Adam Hideg, the Hungarian, for the Cram competition team. He's clearly had too much damage from that one. So game over. Thomas Strauben, though, able to pick up some pieces here for the Rodin Motorsport team. 14 minutes remaining in this one, a 30-minute race, of course. So that's going to be a full 25 points available for our race winner. Would likely to be Juan Cota at the moment, in front of Griffin Peebles, and the leader in the rookie category, Enzo Tarmanichkul. Trying not to get too confused with those two different graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. One is for the overall, and one is for the rookie category alone. So there's definitely going to be some drivers trying to take advantage of the situation of having the top 3 drivers in the championship all looking like non-scorers. Mind you, Mattia Kolnagi is doing his best to find himself back into contention here. Currently in 14th place. His next target is going to be the young Oscar Wirtz, the Austrian, who is of course the son of the Le Mans 24-hour winner and Formula 1 driver Alexander Wirtz. So Oscar very much following in the wheel tracks of his older brother Charlie. So Juan Cota out in front, a 2.5 seconds clear of Griffin Peebles. Then Enzo Tarmadichkel third from Strauben, Fruschik, Cardenas, Rivera, Lammers, Gomez and Nathan Tai. A really exciting challenge for the contenders out there at the moment, as Juan Cota is hoping to have a continuation up at the sharp end of the field from Griffin Peebles. Enzo Tarmadichkel still putting him under a lot of pressure though, as they continue to work their way through in the far side of things. Sounds to me like Alex Garcia might be on the case down in pit lane to try and see what the situation is with a couple of our drivers having some difficulties in pit lane. You may have just spotted as well there Maciej Gladish's car being wheeled away at the side of the road there. Very unfortunate. It was on the back of the recovery truck. Shame that Maciej Gladish not able to add to his win tally today. I tell you who we should be keeping an eye on though, the Sri Lankan talent, Jevan David, has literally charged his way through from the tail end of the field and is now in 16th position. So both Mattia Kolnagi and Jevan David are ripping this racetrack apart in their ambitions to get back into the points. So excellent work from both competitors. It's a really tricky situation at the moment. And Jack Monahan rightly points out that we've got 2 sons of Le Mans 24 Hours winners on the grid, with another FIA karting European champion in the mix, René Lammers, who of course won that title last year in the senior category. So Kolnagi is now all the way from 24th to 14th, so certainly making as much progress as he possibly can. 10th in rookie, 14th overall. But again, the competitors just keeping it neat and tidy. It's a shame we can't really see some of the battles going on a little bit further back in the pack. Jan Piotrowski has come into the pits now as well. We saw Lenny Reed in. We saw Adam Hideg and Pudi Puzanelos come in and park it. And Jan Piotrowski clearly picked up too much damage in the... Yeah, there he is. That's Pudi Puzanelos, sorry. But Pudi Puzanelos is being wheeled back into the Rodin garage. But I noticed as well that Jan Piotrowski has also come into the pits. So we've only got 20 cars running from the rookie category. So only 20 rookies still running this race. That's a grand total of 30 drivers total are still leading. No, 29 drivers total, in fact, are still running in this race. So Cota and Peebles out in front. This is brilliant from Juan Cota. What an opportunity for him. Has not even been on the overall podium so far this year. Griffin Peebles second, then Tarmadichkel, Strauben, Flusha, Cardenas. And then we have Ernesto de Vera and René Lammers in front of Gabriel Gomez and Nathan Tai. James Igotzi just outside the points paying positions in 11th position. Coming towards us, we got a fairly tasty battle there. That was Mattia Kolnagi getting back on terms with Oscar Wirtz. Then Matas Reiber, and then we've got these 3 dueling away. This is Franco, David and Filippo Fiorentino. So we are getting a little bit of a tasty battle in the midfield as Jevan David is in 17th now, trying to take on Renault Franco. As we look at Thomas Strauben, ahead of Lucas Flusha and Andres Cardenas, all dueling away at the sharp end of the field. So Thomas Strauben trying to stay in the mix here. Nice little battle going on at the sharp end of the dais. Look at the positions that have been made up from drivers. Cardenas up 8 places, Rivera up 6. Both Nathan Tai and James Igotzi have come up 10 places from their starting positions. 20th on the grid for Nathan Tai, 21st on the grid for James Igotzi. Great recovery from Mattia Kolnagi, who originally started 3rd, stalled on the grid, and then has worked his way further forward. So let's see if we get ourselves into a neater position. Out through on the far side, onto the main straight. Cota continues on his way. Griffin Peebles, P2 from Tarmadichkel and Strauben. Strauben is trying to stay with the young Tai in 3rd position. Lucas Flusha, P5 for the KCL MP team. And then it is Andres Cardenas and Ernesto de Vera, 6th and 7th. René Lammers, 8th position for the time being. And then we have Gabriel Gomez and Nathan Tai from James Igotzi and Tim Gerhards. Oscar Wirtz currently 13th place. Mattia Carnaghi has worked his way to 14th, but he's got through, as far as he's concerned, the drivers that would be at his sort of level on pace. But things have been a little bit trickier since he's managed to make that move. I wonder if he's going to have enough time to even get after Oscar Wirtz, never mind to get himself back into the points. He's currently got a deficit of 0.4 of a second to him, but once he gets past Wirtz, he's going to have to make up 3 seconds to get back on terms with Tim Gerhards for 12th. So certainly Juan Cota looking good for his first victory of Spanish F4 in 2024. It's been a very tough season for Juan Cota so far. He's certainly had his moments. He did pick up a 3rd place finish though, of course, at Paul Ricard earlier this season. A 3rd place finish has been his best result of the season, currently 13th in the point standings and the 2nd best Spanish talent in terms of points this year. Lucas Flusha currently running 5th position, 3rd of the rookies. Looking good for a rookie trophy at the very least, if not an overall trophy. So with 7 minutes and 40 left on the clock, Ninovic has made the move on Jovan David. So an excellent work so far then for the Rodin Motorsport driver from Australia. Definitely going full guns blazing at the moment. This is the rookie battle that we're watching at the moment. Tarvanichkil in front of Straven and Flusha, and they're also locked together in the same part of the racetrack, so fairly appropriate. We're keeping an eye on them. But Enzo Tarvanichkil is definitely leading the rookie category, but not by much over Straven. But what he wants to really do is get after the man in 2nd place, namely Griffin Peebles in the MP. But that moment from Keanu Elazari, easy mistake to make on the outside line there, just caught the curb, it spat the car out. Maciej Gladic did his best to avoid him, but there was nothing he could do. As into the pits now comes Jacobi. So Jacobi joins the retirements list by the look of it for the GRS Team USA squad. And that's going to leave us with just 28 cars out on the circuit. Down at the very back, by the way, we have Francisco Macedo in the DXR. Proof that he's had yet more bad luck, the Portuguese driver. 6.5 on the clock, plus the additional lap that comes after it. So certainly Juan Cota with a decent 2.5 second advantage on Griffin Peebles. Rather sadly, the entirety of this race, at the flow of it, has essentially come down to the incident that we saw between Keanu Elazari and Maciej Gladic. Nobody at fault really for that one, just a racing incident, unfortunately. Lenny Reeds brings his car into the pits, and that is all he wrote. So his car being wheeled in. I think that's actually the number 11 car that was being wheeled in. That was Jacobi. So Alex Garcia is on the pit wall, just keeping an eye on things with the individual teams. On the inset there, you can see that the mechanics are staying calm at Drivex. They do not want Juan Cota to start thinking too much about race wins just yet. He's leading the way. He's got 2.5 on Griffin Peebles. But he certainly doesn't want to be counting any chickens before they hatch. On a circuit like this, it really can spit you out. And you can see there, look at the drivers actually running wide over the curbs. They've got to be careful about track limits. We saw in the Euro Cup 3 earlier this year, and don't forget that's the same governing body. Track limits warnings can be very, very severe in this championship. We saw several drivers getting black flags at the Red Bull Ring because they were running over the limit of track limits. And you can see pretty much everybody basically on the green runoff area rather than the racetrack. So they've got to be very careful about that. So Juan Cota, 2.6 seconds clear of Griffin Peebles in 2nd position. Enzo Tarvanichkil still having a very smooth race of it in 3rd from Straven. Then Flusha. There's Griffin Peebles. 2nd position at the moment, the Australian. Looking neat and tidy for a solid race battle out on the course. And it's certainly looking particularly exciting for Juan Cota. His best result of the season so far is a 3rd place finish, which he picked up on one occasion on the first race of the weekend at Paul Ricard in France. But with all the major championship contenders out of the points, Mattia Carnaghi down in 14th, Maciej Gladic out, and Keanu Elazari out. Well, there is a very frustrated Lenny Reeds, just having a nice conversation there with our pit reporter, Alex Garcia. I'm sure he'll be able to tell us what the situation is down there in pit lane.
Well, we're here with Lenny Reed. We're trying to see, you know, to see if we can listen to each other despite the cars going here. We're talking about Lenny. That was not an ideal start of the weekend for sure.
No, we had a bit of bad luck. A piece of the turbo is destroyed in the car, so I need to retire.
But still, 2 more races to go, 1 more qualifying tomorrow, so you have 1 whole day to pick up the pieces, to recover, to finish the weekend on a high. So what's it looking for tomorrow?
Yeah, the starting position for tomorrow is not optimum because we had a little mistake in the qualifying. We just had 1 good lap, so it's hard for tomorrow, but we will try our best.
Any specific goals that you have in mind?
Yeah, the top 10 would be great.
Great, thank you very much, and commiserations for today, but good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias, Alex. Unfortunate to hear from Lenny Reed having his problems down in pit lane. Something wrong with the turbo by the sound of things. That's very unfortunate for him, and it means that he's not able to get to the finish. 3 minutes to go, plus the additional lap then. It's all perfectly serene out front for Juan Cota. The Drivex team looking good for a race victory, and that is definitely great news indeed for them. It's been very much a very different situation as far as the races that we've previously come through are concerned. The winning teams this year have been MP, Rodin, and the satellite teams of Campos or MP, essentially, over the course of the season. We've had wins for Keanu Alazari, we've had wins for Maciej Gladish, which is KCL by MP. We've had an Ester de Vera for Campos, and we've had Thomas Straven for Rodin, as well as for Lucas Felucia of KCL by MP. So this will be the first win of the season for the Drivex team, if their man Juan Cota can hang on to it out front. And that would be a lovely result to see a different team taking a race victory as well as a different driver. And look at the advantage he's been able to gain on Griffin Peebles. 3 seconds. He's been quick all weekend, to be fair to Juan Cota. It looks like the championship contenders are really going to be on the back foot all weekend long. So it's definitely going to be a scary scenario and a tough situation for all of the contenders in the move. But let's see if we are going to have another exciting conclusion to the race battles here, because at the moment Juan Cota is hanging on here from Griffin Peebles. Enzo Tarvanichkil P3 from Straven, Felucia, Cardenas and Rivera. Lammers is 8th, Gomez is 9th, Nathan Tai is 10th, so we'll score the final championship point if it remains like this. We're going on to the penultimate lap of the race by my mathematics. Looking at the lap times they've been setting so far, they've been in the 1:33, so the leader came across the line with about 1 minute 25 in hand on the timer. So this is going to be the penultimate lap for Juan Cota. Very great young talent, Juan Cota. Has always been very well supported and well encouraged by the Spanish Racing Federation. In his karting days, he was a superior national talent. Had some difficulties when he stepped up to the European stage. Look at the gravel that's ended up being dispensed over the circuit. That's going to need to be sorted, ready for race 2 tomorrow. Plenty of time for the marshals and officials to deal with that, of course, but that won't be helping anybody at this part of the race. So now we're going to get to see if there's going to be a new race winner in Spanish F4, and it's certainly looking very strong indeed for Juan Cota. A brand new race team is likely to be the winning team this time. I say a brand new race team, certainly they were in it last time. Drivex doing a fantastic job of it, but they have yet to take a win in 2024. So it's definitely going to be exciting to see Juan Cota get the job done. Out of the final turn, and he'll blast down on the power. 3, 2, 1. Time is up. So when Juan Cota comes across the line this time, he'll be starting the final lap here at Valencia on the circuit Ricardo Tormo, known for its motorcycles, but it's certainly a great car racing track when you get the chance to attend it. My first time trackside on this amazing circuit was for the Clio Cup Series last year, and they certainly gave us plenty of drama for all 4 green flag laps we got all weekend. But certainly here, Juan Cota has been able to put himself into a very solid position out in front. This is really smart driving from Juan Cota. Look at him. As aggressive as he needs to be, but as smooth as is necessary. He has put himself right up into the sharp end ahead of Griffin Peebles and Enzo Tarvanichkil. There's going to be a mammoth party down there in the pit lane. So this is going to be a really exciting situation. Who would have thought the top 3 championship contenders out of the points? Mattia Kolnagi stalling on the start, dropping to the back. He's fought his way to 14th, but that's all he could do. Keanu Alazadi spinning his car on the first lap on this corner, losing it over the curb, spinning out of control, and poor Maciej Gladish, unsighted, had no way of getting out of his way. Very unfortunate. Nobody at fault, just one of those things in the world of motor racing, but it means it's going to be one of those anomaly races in a motor racing season where the championship contenders score nothing and a new boy scores big. Juan Cota will come out of the final turn here in Valencia for the first race of the weekend, and what an achievement it is for Juan Cota and Trivex. They are first-time winners in the F4 Spanish Championship 2024. Brilliant. Juan Cota gives the team their first win of the 2024 season, and I'm fairly sure their first win in over a year in Spanish F4. Absolutely incredible for Juan Cota. What a great talent. Griffin Peebles in second, Enzo Tarvanichkil is third, and the winning rookie. What a mammoth effort for Juan Cota, and an excellent performance. Great job as well for Griffin Peebles. All the people that were saying, well, this is not going to be his year, he's never going to come up with a good result. Well, you know that your words have now been eaten. Fair play to Griffin Peebles. Excellent work in second place. But what an exceptional result for Drivex and Juan Cota. They take their first win together in F4 Spanish Championship. And it's a lovely, rare result. This kind of has the feeling almost of a victory of Pierre Gasly or Olivier Panis or Damon Hill in the Jordan. It's kind of out there. It's a bit left field when you've got a championship that's been dominated so far this year by Campos, MP and Rodin. It's wonderful to see another team who are just as deserving of the top step of the podium getting a look in. And Juan Cota has not won this race by luck at all. Off the start, he was determined, he was resolute, he knew he wanted the win, and he knew that going into the lead at turn 1 was going to give him his best possible chance. They were 3 wide in turn 1, Cota, Peebles and Alazari, and Juan Cota knew that this race was his. Congratulations to Enzo Tarvanichkil. The young Thai takes the winner in the rookie category. Absolutely brilliant race. There is Griffin Peebles. That'll be a bit of a monkey off the back for him as well. Second place in this one will be a bit of a relief, actually. But how about this for Drivex? Look what it means to him and the team. They have worked so hard all season. Juan Cota, a very lovable, likable young man. He will step out of the car and it will be party time. Juan Cota takes the victory in Spanish F4. Look at the scenes down there. Saturday night is all right for fighting if you're Drivex and Juan Cota. What a result, what an achievement. That is a rare victory for the Drivex team at this level, and that's what it means to them. The boy wonder, Juan Cota, the Vencedore, the winner. Absolutely magic scenes down here as Juan Cota takes the victory from Griffin Peebles and Enzo Tarvanichkil. What a wonderful, wonderful result. Not just for him, not just for the team, but for the championship as well. That's a very popular result for Juan Cota. The helmet will come off. Hopefully he'll be able to chat to Alex Garcia down in pit lane. But well done to Juan Cota. What a result. You can see the highlights on your screen to the right of your picture. You'll be able to see the incident again. There's Keanu Alazadi losing the car. Poor Maciej Gladish, completely unsighted. Nothing he could do to avoid the incident. Thank goodness we didn't have a bigger incident, actually, as a result. But as a result of that, the restart was fairly clinical from Juan Cota. There were a couple of other incidents that were worth picking up on. A lot of cars damaged, either in the first lap incident originally or in subsequent attempts at overtakes. But Griffin Peebles was not quite able to run with the pack today, was not quite able to keep up with Juan Cota. An amazing performance. There's a lot of firsts in this particular race. It looks like our Spanish feed has picked up on the interview with Juan Cota first. We'll hear from Alex Garcia in a moment. But the Drivex Academy and their young man, Juan Cota. What a result. What a victory. He totally deserves that. It's been a tough year for him. They've had a lot of stress, a lot of difficulties. He's been trying all season long to prove his worth and showcase, look, I am not just here to make up numbers. I am here to show that I am a talent. I am a superstar. I am going to be a name to watch in the future. But with a victory like that, well, everybody knows it now. Excellent work from Juan Cota. Griffin Peebles in a very solid second place, the MP driver, and of course the Formula Winter Series champion at the beginning of the year. And Enzo Tarmanichkul, the former karting world champion in junior, there he is. Let's hear from him and Alex Garcia.
My hair look good.
Enzo, third place in this first race of the weekend here in Valencia. I know you're not happy. I know you're happy when what you said. You're only happy when you can raise that one finger. How was the race?
It was a fairly difficult race. On the first lap, I got into P3, and basically after that, we didn't really progress anymore because, you know, Valencia is a very high deg track. So at one point, I was catching Griffin a little bit, and then kind of just stalled up, and I couldn't catch him anymore. And then after that, I was just surviving, basically, not pushing the tires too hard to where you would destroy the tires. And yeah, basically, it was quite a tough race.
As you said, high degradation track, quite hot temperatures today, and also it's a very difficult track to overtake at.
Yeah, I think it's very important to do a very good first lap. And after that, you know, last year I was here watching the race, and the only one I really saw overtaking was Niall when he was really fast. So yeah, it's just really difficult to overtake, and as long as you can basically do a good first lap and you're not too slow in the race, you can survive in the same position pretty much.
Any good and useful conclusions for tomorrow?
Good and useful conclusions is that we're fast. We already knew this, but we're fast only in a small section of the race. I think from my part, I could have done something better to save the tires, but apart from that, it was just, yeah, we were fast, but just not for long enough.
All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the third place, and good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
So that was from our third place, Enzo Tarmanichkul. Did a great race, and he brought some, I think, key points of what this race weekend is going to be like. High degradation, especially for these guys, for these tires, for this category, and also very tricky to overtake. Likely that tomorrow, first couple of laps on both race 2 and race 3 are going to be key, as we saw today, so that's probably going to be a moment to look out for.
Gracias, Alex. Thank you for your hard work for race 1 down in pits, particularly to recover our little trip-up situation earlier. The high degradation, it really is quite a factor here at Valencia. What has the general feeling been amongst the drivers in terms of what that is likely to give us for the races over the weekend?
Yeah, I think most of the drivers are commenting on that. They were testing different configurations, of course, during yesterday, but as you know, the test sessions were very spread out apart and very different timings, so the only real conclusions came with free practice today, and with the temperatures rising during the day, it was not really as useful as it could have been. So that's why I was also asking Enzo, what are the conclusions from this race? Because this is probably going to be maybe the most useful moment they've had to understand what the conditions are going to be like tomorrow. So yeah, everyone's suffering with this, everyone's struggling with tire deck. So I think it's likely that tomorrow we're going to see pretty much the same thing. But as again, as Enzo said, it's key for every driver to know when to push, when to give, you know, 1 second, 1.5 seconds, keep the tires fresh and nice, and come back at the end of the race maybe. That could be a strategy.
Very good point, Alex. I think we're about to go over to our podium ceremony for the top 3 drivers. Thank you for rushing around and grabbing the stories, Alex. We can't wait to see what the drivers have to say ahead of race 2 tomorrow. Gracias. So we now have our podium ceremony then for the top 3 drivers. For Enzo Tarmanichkul, who will also be our winning rookie, of course. We heard from him briefly. That's the difficulty with this circuit. Once you get stuck in a rut, it is a little bit stalemate between the drivers up in the top 4 or 5 positions. Once you get into a flow, it's very difficult to follow in pursuit of the car in front, particularly on this circuit. It doesn't really lend itself to car racing in quite the same way that it does for bikes. I mean, motorcycle racing on this circuit is absolutely incredible. It really does test the rider's endurance. But the problem is it's a very tight and twisty nature of race circuit. I've always felt that this is a circuit that is much better for motorcycle racing than it is for cars. But it's certainly been an interesting test of looking after the tyres, that's for sure. There's Enzo Tarvanichkul. Third step of the podium for him. Griffin Peebles back on the podium again after a long season. But how about this for Juan Cota on the top spot? Drivex take their first win of the 2024 campaign. What a result for Juan Cota and the Drivex team. Excellent. So the trophies will be handed out then to the drivers, and it's an excellent performance indeed for Enzo Tarvanichkul. For the winning team, they get the winner's trophy. The Drivex squad, very valuable points in the championship for Enzo Tarvanichkul, and certainly in the rookie points. Always very grateful for every opportunity he's given. He's frustrated, but he knows that in the bigger picture, it'll look good after a night's sleep, and he'll be right back into the race again tomorrow. The big question is going to be how much damage will Keanu Elazade and Maciej Gladish have taken from that incident earlier on? Will their cars be good enough to go up to scratch tomorrow after their contact? Even if they are able to get back into their original grid positions, the car might not feel right again. Griffin Peebles in a great second place, but Juan Cota victorious and so excited. They're going to have such a great party down in the Valencia paddock after this podium ceremony. Whatever happens this weekend, we'll be able to say once and for all, Juan Cota and Drivex victorious. The national anthem for Spain. Amazing work from Juan Cota and Drivex. They win the first race of the weekend. But given their current pace, you never know. They might even get a second or even a third win out of the blocks. They certainly have had the pace since practice. What will the championship contenders do to bounce back? It's stalemate as far as the championship is concerned. Nothing has changed at the top of the table, with neither Keanu Elazade, Mattia Kornagi or Maciej Gladish scoring points from this race. It'll all begin again then in terms of the title fight in race 2 tomorrow. It might be anticlimactic as far as the championship is concerned, but for these three men, Enzo Tarvanichkul, Griffin Peebles and Juan Cota, they will get busy with the fizzy in style here in Valencia. What a fantastic performance from Juan Cota, the newest winner in Spanish F4. Join us again tomorrow as we'll be back in action for races 2 and 3 from the circuit Ricardo Tormo. From Jake Sanson, from Alex Garcia, thank you very much indeed for watching race 1. We'll be back, same time, same place on the circuit, ready for race 2.